Key items. Non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, are important legal tools used to protect sensitive information. However, there are some typical pitfalls and critical issues to be aware of when drafting or entering into NDAs. Here are a few. Inadequate definition of confidential information. Lack of clear obligations and restrictions. Insufficient duration of the agreement. Exclusions and exceptions not properly addressed. Non-compliance with legal requirements. Inadequate remedies and enforcement mechanisms. Lack of clarity regarding third-party disclosures. Failure to address return or destruction of information. Inadequate definition of confidential information. NDAs should clearly define what constitutes confidential information. Failing to provide a comprehensive and specific definition can lead to ambiguity and disputes over what information is covered by the agreement. Lack of clear obligations and restrictions. NDAs should outline the obligations and restrictions imposed on the receiving party regarding the use, disclosure, and protection of the confidential information. Vague or poorly defined obligations can result in unintended breaches or misunderstandings. Insufficient duration of the agreement. NDAs should specify the duration for which the confidential information should be protected. If the agreement lacks a specific time frame or does not account for a reasonable period, the disclosing party's information may remain unprotected for longer than intended. Exclusions and exceptions not properly addressed. NDAs should identify any exclusions or exceptions to the confidentiality obligations. Failing to address specific circumstances where the receiving party is not required to maintain confidentiality can create loopholes and jeopardize the protection of sensitive information. Non-compliance with legal requirements. NDAs should comply with applicable laws and regulations governing confidentiality agreements. Failure to adhere to legal requirements may render the NDA unenforceable or result in legal liabilities. Inadequate remedies and enforcement mechanisms. NDAs should include provisions that outline the available remedies in the event of a breach, such as injunctive relief, monetary damages, or specific performance. Failing to address remedies and enforcement mechanisms may limit the disclosing party's options for recourse. Lack of clarity regarding third-party disclosures. If the disclosing party intends to allow the receiving party to disclose the confidential information to specific third parties, such as contractors or advisors, the NDA should clearly state the terms and conditions of such disclosures to avoid unintended breaches or misuse. Failure to address return or destruction of information. NDAs should specify the obligations of the receiving party to return or destroy the confidential information upon termination of the agreement or upon the disclosing party's request. Neglecting this provision may result in the continued possession or unauthorized use of confidential information. To mitigate these pitfalls and critical issues, it is advisable to seek legal counsel when drafting or entering into NDAs. An experienced attorney can ensure that the agreement adequately protects the confidential information, complies with applicable laws, and addresses specific circumstances and potential risks.